Okay, I have not made a video in a hot minute. So a lot has been going on in this past, I think it's 6 weeks. I think the last time that I filmed an update, I was 24 weeks. I'm now 31 weeks. And so much has happened in this time. And unfortunately, not a lot of good things have happened. My pregnancy was going so smooth. It was so nice up until about 26 weeks, and I will get into all of those details. So first off, I've been working like crazy. I'm working the 2 jobs. Now that January is over, I am finally starting to slow down. Today's actually February 1st, and there's other reasons besides just like my actual work schedule slowing down that I have to slow down my work schedule. So let's start out with, okay, 24 to 25 weeks was the same. Nothing happened. 26 weeks, I was actually driving home from the grocery store. This was Christmas Eve, and I rear-ended somebody. Yes, I rear-ended somebody else driving home. Thankfully, it was just a fender bender. It wasn't anything crazy. There was no damage to each car. But yeah, it was my fault, and I felt so guilty, and I was so terrified that something could have happened to baby. So I did go to the emergency room just in case to get checked out. And luckily, everything was perfect. They checked it. The placenta was completely attached. The cord flow was good. The fluid was good. Everything was perfect at that scan. So that was really good. But then when I got home, I was looking back at it, and I was looking at the measurements, and like some of her measurements were a little behind. Like I was 25 weeks, and some of her body parts were measuring like 23, 24. But I mean, that was sent to my OB, and she didn't seem concerned about it. So I just let it go, moved on. Okay, shortly after that happened, I had my glucose test. I did pass. So what I did to pass my glucose test, I mean, I'm sure it's just because I don't have the gestational diabetes, but I ate 1 hard-boiled egg before the appointment, and that was it. So just like protein and fat, and that was it. And I had the drink. The drink really was not that bad at all. It tasted like flat orange soda. I downed it in like 3 minutes. It was really a piece of cake for me, but I know a lot of people have trouble with it, so not judging. I felt fine afterwards. I wasn't like sluggish or tired or nauseous, nothing. I just felt normal. I just felt like I had soda for breakfast. Whatever. Also at my 26-week appointment, I had mentioned to my OB that I had been having a lot of headaches, so I was kind of scared that maybe it was like my blood pressure, because the actual headache I was feeling was like a pressure headache. Almost like if I get aggravated and I get high blood pressure, that's the kind of like pressure I was feeling. So I was nervous. I was like, oh my God, like, do you think I have preeclampsia? So she checked my BP, and it was like perfect, and they checked for proteins in my urine, and that was also good. So there was no symptoms of preeclampsia, and now the headaches are still come and go, but nothing like too crazy. So I don't know, they're just saying it's probably hormonal. They do check my blood pressure and my urine sample every time I go, so it's been fine. So I guess it's just a hormonal headache, unrelated. Okay, so after my glucose test, let's see, that was at 26 weeks. 27, 28 went by. I actually missed my 29-week appointment and had to reschedule it for 30 weeks. And this is when things took a turn for the worst. So at 30 weeks, my OB finally she never ever did this before, but for the first time, she took like the tape measure and measured my fundal height. The length of your uterus. So the measurement that they check to your fundal height, I was 30 weeks on the dot. I always make my appointments on Wednesdays because Wednesdays I work the evening at my job and I have the mornings off. So I was 30 weeks on the dot, and she measured my fundal height, and I heard her say 26. I was like, ooh, that's really small. And I was like, a lot of people have actually been saying to me that my stomach looks small, that, they're like, oh, you don't even look pregnant, like whatever. And I was just taking it like as a compliment, I guess. I was like, oh, I guess I'm just like carrying small. I don't know. I don't know, whatever. I mean, at 30 weeks, I gained a total of 16 pounds, which she said was, like, really good. But I did. I even mentioned to her, I'm like, you know, a lot of people, like my coworkers, my mom, like, they're all saying that I look so small to be 30 weeks pregnant. I know that doesn't really matter because every woman, like, carries differently. It's not like, you know, a big bump versus small bump. But for me being so tiny, I mean, I'm only 4'8". So I mean, like, where is the baby? You know, like, if somebody's tall, like, the baby has a lot of space. But I'm so small. I have the smallest torso. Like, where is the baby hiding? Sorry about that. So we're actually in the middle of a blizzard here in New Jersey, which never really happens. We haven't had snow like this in so long, but we have a lot of snow out there. I will show you. And we're trying to figure out, like, the whole parking situation. This is a disaster. But I'll show you outside because it's, like, really, really bad. Yeah, there's about 18 inches out there right now. It's, like, just really, really bad. Anyway, okay. So, so my doctor said, you know what, like, you know, you're a small person. I don't expect you to have, like, a huge baby. So let's send you for a growth scan, you know, to be sure. She's like, you know, I don't think anything's wrong, but, like, let's just send you just in case. So she's like, you know what, it's not a big deal, whatever, like, I'm not worried. But then I hear her to the front desk, the receptionist, she's like, oh, call the MFM, which is actually the hospital that my husband works at, Englewood Hospital. They have a maternal fetal medicine there, and that's where I actually get all my scans. Not because I was high risk or anything, that's just where they do their ultrasounds, which is great, but they also are specialists, so that's even better. So I heard her say to the front desk, she was like, please get, you know, Danielle, my patient, an appointment for a growth scan ASAP. She's like, I don't want the appointment any longer than a week away. I was like, this sounds kind of scary. So anyway, I got the appointment for 6 days later, and the ultrasound tech that was doing the ultrasound, she's like, how many weeks are you? I'm like, 30. And I kept, like, seeing the little measurements, because you can see, you know, on the screen what she's measuring, and some of the measurements were like 25, 26, like 24 weeks even. Something was measuring 24 weeks. I was like, this is really terrifying. And she was like, oh, yeah, your baby is really small. She's like, the baby's measuring 4th percentile. I was like, what? 4th percentile? And she was like, yeah, usually they would, like, want to monitor you really closely, like twice a week if that's really the case. She's like, you know, let me just remeasure a couple things just to be sure. So she finishes her measurements, and she sends them over to the doctor, I guess. Now, for all my other scans, the doctor would just, like, come into the room, be like, hey, everything looks great, like, go about your day. But this time was different. Oh, and I'm by myself, by the way, because of freaking COVID, so there's nobody allowed in the room with you. So I'm by myself for this amazing appointment. So the doctor, she's like, oh, the doctor wants to see you in his office. I'm like, oh my God, this is not good. So he calls me in there, and he says, look, your baby's measuring 4th percentile. And he basically said this could mean two things. He's like, A, it's genetics, and your baby's just small and healthy, which is what I'm praying for, because I'm small, but my husband is really big. And he actually did ask for my husband's, you know, height and weight. My husband's like 6'5", so, I mean, it's possible the baby's just small because I'm small. But then he said the other option is that there could be something wrong with the placenta. And he said that's actually not visible on the ultrasound. Like, it would just hinder the baby's height, basically, or growth. He said that what they're going to do is they're going to monitor me. They want to see me twice weekly. I was like, wow, this is kind of scary. And then he starts going over, you know, the tests they're going to do, that they check the flow of the umbilical cord, and they check the baby's movement, and they check the baby's heart rate, and I would get another growth scan in 2 weeks, but I have to be seen bi-weekly, no, not bi-weekly, sorry, twice weekly for the BPP Doppler ultrasounds to make sure that the baby's okay, which is so scary, and it's really hard with work. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm debating on maybe taking maternity leave early, because I can't just, not go to work all these days. They said that the appointment times would be like sporadic, because they're very like last minute appointments. It's not like they were scheduled like weeks in advance. We are just kind of taking it appointment by appointment. Today was actually supposed to be my first appointment with them since the time that they told me that baby was in the 4th percentile. So it was supposed to be every Monday and Thursday for the next 2 weeks for that, and then another growth scan, and take it from there. The doctor mentioned, that if any of these tests don't look good, or if at the next growth scan in 2 weeks she's, in the 3rd percentile and she's just really not growing, that they might want to take her out early, which is not what not what anybody wants to hear. So it's been a little rough, trying not to think about it. I guess they sent the report over to my regular OB, and she called me and she did calm me down quite a bit. She said, don't freak out yet. They have to go over these things with you because they're all possibilities. The ultimate goal is to have baby healthy. So, if taking her out early is going to be that for her, then that's what we have to do. But ultimately, you want to keep the baby inside. And she said that she really has like a gut feeling that the baby's just small because I'm small, and that she'll continue to pass all of these ultrasounds that I have to get. Because like at the last one I had, the umbilical cord and everything looked fine. It was just that she was, really small percentile. So we really just have to take it week by week at this point. She did calm me down. She said, she has a lot of smaller patients that have smaller babies, and anything under 10 percentile is concerning, and I'm under the 5 percentile, which is even more concerning. But again, she was very optimistic, so she did calm me down quite a bit. As if that wasn't enough, the next day I had work in the evening, and I was just sitting on my couch eating my breakfast like usual. All of a sudden, I felt like almost like, when you're gonna throw up, like you feel like that like pressure like right here. I felt that. I was like, whoa, like that's weird. Like maybe baby's really high up. I was like, whoa, this is like really painful. And then it went away, and then all of a sudden I started feeling heat like on my ears. Like my ears were hot. I was like, what is going on? And then like that heat and burning feeling moved from my ears down to my neck, and then down to my arms, and then down to my legs, and I look and I'm covered in hives. I will insert a picture. I was like, can this get any worse? Like, what is going on? So I'm freaking out. I call my husband. I'm like, what do I do? Because he's a pharmacist. So he's like, just take one Benadryl, like a 0.25. He's like, it's pretty safe during pregnancy. I called my OB, left a message with her. She calls me back. She's like, oh, Danielle, we're having a lot of conversations lately. I'm like, yeah, this is just really bad. And she was like, honestly, she's like, I think it's a stress response. I think your body is just, your body's stressed because you're pregnant. Your mind is stressed because of the news you just heard. So she's like, I really just think it's a stress, stress hives. It'll go away. She's like, I don't think you just developed a new allergy to eggs, because, I didn't eat anything else. Nothing was different. I did have eggs again after that, and it was fine. So I think she was right. I think it was just my body that was so stressed. My mind was stressed. But yeah, really trying to take it day by day now, and appointment by appointment. They told me to have a hospital bag packed in my car just in case, which is another really scary thing. I have no idea what to put inside of it. I'm a very minimalist person. I don't like packing a ton of stuff. My husband said that they give you a lot of stuff at the hospital for the baby especially. So I think I'm just gonna pack, baby outfits, maybe even a preemie outfit or two, because who knows when she's gonna be born. I guess outfits for me and my husband, maybe some snacks, her little name board with her weight and stuff, and maybe some toiletries, just because I don't want to use their soap. Probably smells bad. But other than that, I will keep everybody updated, keep us in your thoughts and prayers, and hopefully baby stays in full term. That is the goal.